In the shadows we find our light. Through the struggles we'll take flight. Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Prosperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Oh yeah, mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Trauma whispers, but love will shout. In this space of trust, there's no doubt. We'll explore the depths of pain and grace, finding strength in every embrace. Welcome to Prosperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey of healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Mindful moments equal prosperous lives. Take a breath and join the ride. Together we'll walk side by side with open hearts and open minds. In this podcast space, true peace we'll find. Welcome to Prosperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow.
Hello, everybody. And new week, episode 11. Welcome back to Prosperity Podcast, where we explore the stories of individuals pushing boundaries and achieving their dreams. This week, we're reaching for the stars. Literally. Join me as I chat with the incredible, inspiring Ruth Nichols, an inspiring astronaut and NASA scholar. We'll dive into her journey, the challenges she's overcome, her advice for anyone looking to chase their own seemingly impossible goals. Get ready to be motivated on this episode of Prosperity Podcast called Reaching for the Stars, Aspiring Astronaut and NASA Scholar. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Prosperity Podcast. Click that bell, hit that bell so you can get a notification that lets you know anytime I'm uploading anything and I'm going live. And also, hit that like button. Hit the like button and share. We're doing something a little different this week. Disclaimer is going to be in the comments, so we're not even going to worry about that. But at this point, I'm going to give you a chance before I delve into these questions, Ruth, just to talk about yourself.
For sure. Yeah. Thank you for having me. Really happy to be here. So my name is Ruth Nichols. I graduated from Florida Tech with a dual degree in astrobiology and mathematical sciences. So really into space. Met Destiny in DC, where we were both interns at AIA, the Aerospace Industry Association. Currently, I'm doing my master's degree in China as a Schwarzman scholar, and I'm applying for PhD programs. I've done research on plants in space and on humans in space. I've been a part of some simulated astronaut missions and have done some spacesuit testing. So just excited to be here today. Thank you.
Yes, like I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pop this up here because I use this for the flyer. Can we not just recognize Ruth in this as tell us about this? Because I when I saw it was last summer and I was just like, you know what? I'm amazed, but it doesn't amaze me because it's Ruth. So give us
Thank you. Yes, so this was during one of the simulated space missions I did. So this was in North Dakota. They have this full mock-up of a lunar base at the University of North Dakota. And they have these spacesuits because they have a human spaceflight lab there that they have also at the Kennedy Space Center at NASA. So I helped test these spacesuit designs during a 14-day simulated space missions where we pretend to be astronauts. We live in this habitat and we're just very isolated. So it was a really amazing experience for sure.
Man. So would you say you were an inspiring would you say you well we already know, I already know you're an aspiring astronaut, but would you call yourself a scientist?
I think maybe aspiring scientist. Although I don't know, one of my advisors he was like very adamant that we're all scientists. We should consider ourselves.
Uh-oh. Ooh, you cut out. One moment, you all. We're having technical difficulties. 1 second, Ruth. 1 second, you all. We're gonna try to get Ruth back. But in the meantime, like, share, please subscribe, share this episode, share many episodes. Go just browse Prosperity Podcast. Um, yes. Sorry, chatting with her on how we can get back on. Just link. Yes. But we flow with whatever God has going. As she said, her laptop gave out. So we got to find us an alternative to hop back on. And hopefully we can get this flowing. Bear with me, everybody. Because sometimes when you're doing great things and you have great people on, you're in connection with great people, or you got a podcast, whatever going, the enemy starts to attack. So right now we gonna pray in the name of Jesus, Ruth can get back on. But you know what? She just popped back on. Thank you, Jesus. Look at how God works.
Sorry about that.
All right, you're fine. Because I was just letting them know. I was like, sometimes when you're doing great things and you have this great people that are in position to do great things just start happening. So, we just gonna praise God for the opportunity just to be right back on here, and let's get right back into this question. Do you remember what you were saying? All right, get
Yes,
right back.
yes, I believe I do remember. Sorry about that again. My professor, he was adamant that we're all scientists. We should consider ourselves scientists because we're doing science, we're doing research. Although I guess I aspire to be a PhD and I want to do research as a career. So I do consider myself a scientist, but I feel like there's a long way for me to go as well on my journey. So
That's good. That's awesome. So I want to get into some of this stuff we did. Wasn't last summer. It was summer 2023. We
yeah.
got the opportunity to intern for Aerospace Industries Association in Roslyn, Virginia. We were all in different programs, but I was in the Fund for American Studies program doing mingling with some of the biggest people in DC, where you were a Z Factor fellow. Let's talk a little bit about the Z Factor fellowship, because you got the opportunity to actually intern with one of the founders.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the Z Factor Fellowship is an amazing opportunity for undergraduates interested in aerospace from all kinds of different backgrounds, traditionally underrepresented in space, in STEM. And it allows you to do an internship. It provides you with a mentorship program. We got to do the summit in DC where we got to meet the National Space Council. We got to see the White House. We got to meet all kinds of leaders in space. So it's been a really amazing opportunity and just really inspiring for me. And yeah, actually, my boss was one of the co-founders of it. So it was really great seeing her every day in the office. So I definitely recommend, if any of you are interested in space and are in undergrad, to definitely apply for it. I think it's really worth it.
Yes. So do you do any mentoring? Like, as far as like all the things that you were doing, what if somebody wanted to read that, to listen, their child or just an adult, they're just inspiring just to know information that or just be doing the things that you're doing? Do you offer mentoring?
I do. I've done some mentoring through some programs. There's this one organization called Front Space. It's specifically for girls and women interested in space, but it's a free online mentoring program. So I'm a part of that if you are interested. I also mentored through the NASA Mars Greenhouse Challenge, which is mostly for high school students where they can have teams in different schools and try to design a concept for a greenhouse on Mars. So those are a few that I've been a part of, but I'm also just available if you want to contact me on LinkedIn, or perhaps I can give my email. I would love to help whoever is interested.
That's awesome. That's awesome. When I met Ruth, she had such the biggest heart. I remember just coming in. I was actually the last intern to come in. So with AIA. And I just connected instantly with Ruth. I was like, hey Ruth, we was going to friends. We was going to lunch together. We went to, which museum was that we went to? Was that
We went to a couple, but we went to like the Smithsonian, one of them, I think. They had several.
we did the stimulator, was it the simulator? Yes, it was. And
Yeah, it was like
it was funny because Ruth was like, you drive. And I was like, no, I can't drive. I'm not gonna do this. And I had no idea that it was gonna start doing all this and that. It was I definitely walked out of that realizing that, you know what? I'm gonna leave space to the people that want to go into space. I think I'll be the person watching, because that was not my thing, to be flipped upside down and
Yeah,
turned
it's a
around.
lot.
I was nauseous, and Ruth was just sitting there just giggling. I was like, ah, help me, help me.
It was fun. It was an experience.
It was, but aside from that, like even with our experience, like your experience at AIA, I know we were doing different work. What were some of the things that you could share that you were working on?
Yeah, I got to do a couple of things. So I worked in civil aviation. Specifically, I was working on a report on trying to give advice and recommendations on the proper use of AI in aviation. So a really hot topic for sure. So that was really great being able to work on that and like really have kind of the authority and responsibility to write this whole report that could be shown to Congress. So that was an amazing experience. But also I worked a little bit with the space team because of course I wanted to. So we worked on an infographic about the acquisition, the budgets of different space agencies, so that Congress people, leadership could look at that. So those are two big projects that I was a part of.
That's awesome. I didn't do all that cool stuff when I was there. That's cool. I had the opportunity to work for the American Rocketry Challenge. Many of you all that don't know what that is that's viewing, the American Rocketry Challenge is a middle school, somewhat high school based opportunity for young people to learn how to build rockets from the ground up and learn about teamwork, as well as get the opportunity to compete and travel. And sometimes it's either in Paris, the national competition is either in Paris or in London, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it alternates. So when I was there in 2023, it was in Paris, and we didn't. I mean, of course, we interns. We didn't get to go, but we did have the opportunity to go to that fancy pastry place and eat those
Yeah.
delicious desserts while they were over there having
Always
fun
fun.
in Paris. So, but yeah, the American Rocketry Challenge, I would encourage anybody that is middle school, high school of age to that have schools that are, I mean, they don't really pretty much work for people in the private sector that are private school, but don't be discouraged. Enter into it. It's a great opportunity to get your name out there. The kids excited about building rockets from the ground up, as well as educating them in STEM, robotics, teamwork, and it's a great opportunity too because there's money involved. And, you know, what I mean, we all like money. So yes,
Definitely.
so that was my spiel of what I did. Definitely doesn't top what Ruth did, but you know what I'm saying. It ain't about topic, but Ruth was in some cool stuff.
Thank
Um, but next question, next thing. When I'm gonna transition, when we were at AIA, you had more than one internship. You were flying out to NASA in Florida, as well as
Oh
maintaining
yeah.
an internship at AIA, and you were interning with Z Factor. Go ahead, tell everybody about that.
I remember that. Man, that was a while ago, but I remember that was such a fun summer. Very busy though. But yeah, it was a privilege. I got to flown out to Kennedy Space Center. I was giving a talk at the visitor complex there. And I was flown out, so that was just a really big privilege. I got to talk about my research and mostly about that astronaut mission that I was a part of, that the picture is from. So that was a pleasure being able to speak with them all during that day. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, like, I know it was a couple times that you flew out. Was each time to speak, or was it to do some research?
Yeah, I think what I was doing at NASA was mostly talks, different talks for like public audiences at the visitor center. I think I did a couple. I know I've done at least 5 talks there. So it was fun every time. Yeah.
And so, for everybody that's watching, how old are you?
I turned 24 January 5th. Yeah.
Ruth's 24 years old, and she has just accomplished so much so far. Imagine just what you're gonna
Oh,
do by the age of 30. Just imagine you wanted to do some amazing things. I always told you, I was like, you know what, Ruth? look, when you make it and you doing all these things, don't forget about me. You know what I mean? In that concept, not just the fact of you riches and famous, but also at the same time, it's like that networking connection is important, you all, because DC was about networking. For definitely big on networking for me, as well as building those long-term meaningful relationships, because you don't know who you are connected with that could be life changing. And it's not about what we all think it should be, such as like sometimes we connect with people because they may speak a certain type of way, or they may look a certain type of way, or they may have something that we want. Genuinely connect with people because we don't know how they could plug us into some stuff or what we're doing to be a blessing to them. Because Ruth was a blessing to me because DC, I was nervous.
You were a
And
blessing to me.
you said what?
You were a blessing to me.
Aw, thank you. Because I was like, it was many times where I was feeling like I wasn't making friends and I wasn't making that connection. And Ruth was instantly like, look, you want to go here, you want to do this. And it was fun. And it was really much a fun connection to have to working for, well, interning for AIA. And that's another thing. We were paid interns, y'all. We was getting paid good as interns. So most people don't have paid internships when you're in DC. And we were paid. And we was going over to the other side, but we was in Roslyn, Virginia, where they was just working. So yeah, so I'm gonna shift a little bit into some deeper questions, okay? Like, what are some of the biggest challenges you face while pursuing your dreams of becoming an astronaut, and how did you overcome them?
Oh man, that's a big one. I don't know. I think there were lots of different challenges of different degrees throughout life. I guess one of them was sickness in the family. That was something that I struggled with the last few years of college, I think. But thankfully, everything is great now. But at the time, it was definitely a challenge. Besides that, there was, I don't know, I think being a woman in STEM had been very difficult throughout my life, and still today can be kind of a struggle with belonging and just finding your support network and everything. So I think those are just a few examples. And on the astronaut missions, sometimes being stuck inside a habitat with some people for a few days, I don't know, things can go crazy. So just kind of a lot of different flavors of challenge, I guess you could say. And I come from Texas, from a somewhat low income socioeconomic background. So I think those are a couple of lots of different challenges. We all have our different challenges through life. But I think that those are what make us stronger. So almost a part of me thinks that there can be beauty in challenge, and that how that forms who we are and makes us stronger. Although, of course, I don't want these things, but that almost inspires me to try to want to change how the world is. I want more girls and women in STEM, so I want to keep going. But that's easier said than done a lot of the time. But that's just one thing that helps motivate me to keep going. And I think just trying to see the big picture of who I want to be and what I enjoy. I enjoy space. I think those are just a few things that help keep me going.
That's good. So you mentioned women in STEM because, like, in the low, like, definitely low numbers in women in STEM. How do you, in your day to day, how do you just get past those challenges?
I see. Yeah, I guess I do try to do a lot of mindful practices lately, like journaling, if ever, just try to be mindful of how I'm feeling, of things that happen, how people treat me, or if anything happens, and to try to just rationalize what things are happening to me and how I'm feeling. I think that that's one great way, and always just trying to see the bigger picture. If someone is being mean or if someone does something, just to try to look back and try to get a whole picture of this person. Maybe they're having a bad day, something's going on. Try to understand the complexity of things, I think. So I think just a lot of self-care and mindfulness has been really going a long way for me. Taking time to do the basic things like eat healthy, get enough sleep, that can go a long way as well every day. And definitely getting your support group, getting your friends, getting people who uplift you. I think those are a few little things you can try to incorporate into your day to day.
That's beautiful. Fun fact about me, I am a STEM major for my Master of Science in Cyber Psychology degree. Well, candidate for that. And many that don't know what that is, it's a field of study pertaining to the way people interact with computers or digital devices and emotional effects that usage has on the brain, which is basically a therapist for AI, but also teaching people that certain the behaviors that they have online has a lot to do with different personas that they want to portray, as well as the interactions with people in the devices that they're using. So, for example, Ruth, if you're using some electronic AI device, I'll be able to determine that that device and you will be able to interact better, for the scientific experiments that you're doing. So who knows? One day I may be able to do some stuff for NASA or so on, so on. But yeah, future cyber psychologists here. Technical scientists this way. But I love that you said that because I have not gotten into the STEM. Like my degree had to defer into the fall of this year because
Mhm.
it grew so big. Cyber psychology is not known in the United States. It's popular
Mhm.
overseas. But for
Mhm.
you all that want to know more about it, check out CSI Cyber Psychologist. She is dope. She's amazing. She does more on the criminal justice side of cyber psychology, but I haven't gotten into the cyber psychology stuff as far as like the STEM side of things. So I don't know what to expect going into that. So I appreciate you sharing all of those things that you just shared because I'm definitely going to start looking at how I can better inspire myself and see myself and pour into myself. Because again, I know it's competitive being the fact that my mom, my godmother, is a STEM major. Like I said, she's a chemical. Well, she went to school for chemical engineering, but she don't like to be called a chemical engineer. So yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, like it's definitely been a long time coming to just be able to sit here and talk about where we are now, opposed to where we were before. I
Right.
feel like we were definitely babies in what we were doing, and it's just like
Yeah.
it's definitely getting serious now. I mean, you a PhD candidate, um, and it's like, did you share you getting your degree in Shanghai?
Oh,
Did you
I
share that?
don't. I think maybe briefly. Yeah, I'm doing my master's right now in China. Yeah.
In
I'll
Shanghai?
graduate in the summer.
Yeah, yeah. Like, go ahead and put that out there because that's impressive. But when you told me you was in Shanghai, I was like, what? It shocked me being the fact that I was just like, okay, that's a huge leap. From one
Pretty
place to
far away.
another, but you're not scared of that. Because I remember when we had a conversation when we were touring at AIA, we toured so many places. We toured was it Boeing? We didn't get to
Mhm.
go to Raytheon. We went to what was that? What was the one that we went to? The AIA. We did a couple tours of
Awful.
different places, but
Yeah. And then we went to NASA Goddard. That was fun. I think we went there. Yeah.
when we went to Nesta Goddard, Ruth was talking about they were talking about sending people to Mars because there's like then you're able to live on Mars. And they were just like, yeah, once you go there, you can't come back. And I looked at Ruth, I was like, you would like to do that? And she was like, yeah. I was like, but you can't come back. She was like, I don't care. I was like, what do you mean you don't care? You
Yeah.
can never come back. She's like, I don't care. I just want to go and do it. It's space. It's so I don't care. And I was like, nah, I don't know about that. It was like, hey, they signed me up
Yeah.
right now and I'm out here.
Yeah, I
So like
remember that.
so it's like, oh, do you still have that mindset? If they were if given the opportunity and they were just like, look, Ruth, would you get in this spaceship and go to Mars right now and do all the stuff that, with your degree, your PhD up on Mars, but you can never come back? Would you still do it?
I think so. I think I
Oh, you
would.
definitely
Yeah. I, I
you
think
had to think
there's
about
part
it
of
now.
me that like second guess, but I think I would. There's a little hesitation, but I think I would. I think I would.
What you second guessing for beforehand? You ain't had nothing holding you back, Ruthie. You got a boyfriend now?
No.
Say she went to
No, not
Shanghai.
yet. Not yet.
She said, not yet, not yet. So I'm like, you switching up the gears, Ruth. You switching it up.
I know, no, it's still there. I swear, it's still there. I mean, there's a little hesitation, but like it's still there. Trust me. I'm going.
So relationships, and like I want to get into that. Relationships, being a future scientist, aspiring to go up into space. How does that look relationship wise? Do you focus more on this? You're looking at it from the standpoint of let me go and focus on my studies, or is that time for actually building a relationship?
Yeah, I think that's something that I've struggled with a lot. I think I just go headfirst into work and research. And I mean, I enjoy it. I really like the work that I do. So it's not a problem to me. But also, I don't know, sometimes I need to talk to people. I need to go outside. I need to like just have a support network to support me, especially through these challenges that we're talking about. So I think that's something that I'm working on. Although I think being in China and traveling and just really going outside of my comfort zone has been helping me a lot with that. Been making lots of friends, meeting all kinds of people, just getting outside of my comfort zone, which I think is another great kind of coping strategy to overcoming these challenges. Just do things that you're not really accustomed to. So I think that it can be really hard, especially when you're doing really hard science, to find time to balance it. And especially with the simulated space missions, traveling to China, traveling to these remote places to live in a cave for 5 days, it's really hard to keep in touch with people. So I just try when I can, I guess. I need to get better at that.
So you just do that in there about the cave part. Explain, Ruth. What is this cave situation? Explain.
Okay. So yeah, this was last summer, so a little more recent than AIA, but I did another simulated space missions. This one was in a cave in Spain where we lived in there for like 5 days to simulate living in a cave on Mars. So that one was very remote. So
wow. In Spain. You make me speechless because I'm just like, what? Like, come on now, y'all. Do I not have one of the coolest friends? Just saying.
I just lived under a rock. That's it.
It's different between living under a rock and that rock being on top of you. No, Ruth, you on top of that rock. You standing on that rock. And we all just like, look at Ruth. Come on now. You was not under. You was on top. Come on now. You ain't even looking down. You looking up. You trying to go to space. Come on now. That's the inevitable. You don't even know what's up there. I mean, you might know a little bit more than I do, but hey. that's the exploration for yourself, and what you inspired to do. But like being someone that has done all these things that you've done, and being 24 years old and being a woman, how does these opportunities come your way? How does that happen? Do you go search for them, or do they just be like, Ruth, here, we want you. Come on.
I think it's a mixture of the two, but I definitely try to put myself out there as much as I can. And maybe this can be a good or a bad thing. I try to say yes more than no, but sometimes that means I take on more than I can handle. But I don't know. I like to open more doors than close them, because you'll never know what could happen. I think that at university, that's when a lot of doors open. Like you can do research, you can meet all kinds of people. I think that was really what opened a lot of opportunities to me. And just working really hard in school got me these scholarships, and doing research got me fellowships. So I think that if you just work really hard, and you try to definitely reach out to people. I think, again, the networking, that is so important, and really try to put yourself out there with what you're interested in, put yourself into your work. Then I think naturally, it can take a long time though, I think. But eventually you'll see results come in. I think that that's the ultimate story there.
Awesome. Young people that are like that's this often as you said that, like young people that are watching this, like that are just like, oh my gosh, Ruth is so cool. What advice would you give them to do you feel like at the age you are now, you're content with everything you're doing? Or do you feel like if they're like 16, 17, 18, what are some things that they can be doing now to get to where you're at?
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I think that there's so many different things you can be doing. Of course, there's the more traditional paths, like do an internship, apply to internships, do different competitions, try to get some work experience. But there can also be less traditional methods. Like there's really no limit at all. So I say really do what you're passionate about and be creative with it. Like write a book, make a movie, or build a machine, just whatever you're really called to do. I think that that will just speak words in itself, and really stand out, I think. But of course, also, there are the internships, the work experience is also very beneficial. So I think, again, put yourself out there and seek opportunities and meet people. Networking is a really great way to do that. But I also think be creative and really put yourself into what you want to do. But also at that young age, explore and have fun, because you don't have to know what like your calling is in life. So I think have fun and explore.
That's beautifully said. I love that. I mean, that's Ruth, y'all. Ruth Nichols, y'all. Ruth Nichols. Remember the name, because when she's on the news doing groundbreaking research and NASA shouting her out and aerospace companies shouting, remember the name, y'all. And remember, she was on Prosperity Podcast. I mean, it ain't the biggest platform Ruth's been on, because she's been on so many. Because you sit on, I'm sorry, I got to go back to that. You sit on a panel in 2023 for the Z Factor Fellowship, right?
Oh yeah, that was fun. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And so, what were you speaking about on that panel? Because I that just came to mind. I was going somewhere else, but we just gonna go rear it back over there. What were you doing that for on that panel?
Yeah, I think it was to talk about our experience with the fellowship, what it is, and give people advice about applying to it. So I think it was around the application season, to encourage people to apply for the fellowship. So me and a few other fellows were talking about our own experiences, and it was really exciting to see how passionate these students were to learn more about it and be a part of it.
That is so interesting. It is like, wow. Would you say that you're living in your short term goals or your long term goals? If not, like, what are those
Mm.
goals?
Mm, I think I am really, I don't know, really happy with all the opportunities that I've had. And I think it's a great privilege to have all these opportunities. So I'm very happy with where I am now. I think I've achieved lots and lots of short term goals. I think I still have long term goals though, although I am very happy with where I am.
Mhm.
I do want to go into space someday, although I don't know when or how that'll happen, if it'll happen. But I don't know. I have those kind of big long-term goals, like going to space, I think is the big one for me, and trying to have an impact on my community, however I can.
Wow. That's amazing. It is, because you don't understand. I don't think you see, or maybe begin to just maybe I know God being able to show you the impact that you're making. Like my mom had told you before we got on here. She was just like, Destiny talks about you all the time. I do. I talk about you. I talk about the other interns. I talk about the opportunity overall, because it's just like you inspire me, and you inspire me to talk about you to others, and they're inspired by you, and they don't even know. Like
Oh,
now they
thank
see you,
you.
and they're just like, look at Ruth. And it's just like, even the fact of you sharing, coming from a low income environment and doing everything you're doing, that's inspiring. We need to we need to be out there speaking to this younger generation, letting them know, in older generation, as long as you're on this earth, you still have opportunity to do everything that you're called to do and that you're inspiring to do. And them seeing us being this role of, we're going to go get it no matter what, is important, because you inspired me, because I kind of felt like, oh, this is it. I don't know what I'm going to do next. And I'm just like, as soon as I get off this podcast, I'm telling you, I'm about to go to work, because I'm like, hey, Ruth, she been getting to work. Like, not that I haven't been getting to work, but it's just like, I want to go harder than ever, because for you to just share, you are living in some of your short and long term goals, but your long term is to be in space. That inspires me to want to be so not content, but very much joyful in where I am, in everything that I'm doing, because you're fulfilling your purpose in being happy, being joyful doing that. So that's important. I love that. I mean, but that's
Thank you
Ruth.
so
That's
much.
that's Ruth, y'all. But transition into a different question. What do you think are some qualities that are essential for success in the field of space?
Mm, that's an interesting one. I think teamwork is a really big one. I think you're often going to be working in teams. You might be randomly assigned to work with someone you don't know, and just being able to work with all kinds of different people. I think that that's a big one. But also, interestingly, on the other side of the coin, to be able to work alone as well. So, kind of being able to do either one and switch between the two. I think patience, because a lot of things can go wrong in space. So just being resilient and being able to pick yourself up again, and overcoming some of these challenges that we're talking about, I think having patience and resilience is really important. So I guess teamwork, being able to work independently, patience and resilience, and again, I think just working really, really hard, because a lot of things in space are really difficult. So just put everything you can into it. And I think it's amazing what kinds of things you can accomplish.
Beautifully said. Like, what is one or two of the coolest things that you have done? Your top.
Um, I guess I liked the simulated space missions. Those were pretty amazing. I think just wearing the spacesuits, wearing that for the first time for me was such an amazing experience. But I also was a part of this organization called the International Institute for Astronautical Sciences, IIAS, and they do commercial spaceflight training. So through them, I got to do some really amazing things to experience astronaut training, like wearing a pressurized spacesuit. I got to fly in I believe, an E300 and experience like 6Gs and like fly in a suborbital simulator. It was a really amazing experience. So I encourage you guys to apply if you're either a high school or undergrad or grad student, and you might be able to do that. Um, think especially anytime I'm wearing a spacesuit, I'm really happy and I'm like, wow, this is cool. So I think that that's one of maybe the simulate space missions and the astronaut training were the most amazing things in my opinion.
Wow. You know, I said, I'm sorry, I can't keep saying. I just can't stop saying. That's my friend, y'all. That's my friend. That's my friend Ruth. Yes, like wow. Because I'm just sitting here just thinking like all the simulators. That's what it is, simulators. I'm just like, that's amazing that you enjoyed it because I don't. I don't enjoy it. I did. But I have to point this out though. There was an opportunity where we were doing with AIA, we were Farah, and Farah was taking us to different outings, and we had an opportunity to go somewhere. And you were in Florida at NASA, and or were you in NASA when you
um,
went to the Pentagon?
I don't remember. I think I might have been at NASA. I don't remember.
Well said, but for me, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this picture up here, y'all. This was me at the Pentagon. Yes, the lobster.
Oh
But this
yeah.
was me at the Pentagon, y'all. I was just so excited for the opportunity because we walk in there and not to shade her or nothing. She was like, oh yeah, there's a AIA alum intern that works here. So we get in there, and you got to go through this thorough thing. We had to all go through background checks beforehand, before we stepped on the premises. And then we walked in there, and they scanned your body. It was cool. You probably would thought it was cool, but I was just like, oh, this is just strange, taking off certain stuff. But we get in there, and beforehand, this is a side note story, y'all. I have a friend here in Kansas City that she was my old college professor, and when I first started at school here in Kansas City at Park University, and she was like, okay, I'm going to connect you with some people in DC. So I never got to connect with the wife of his wife, which is one of the first military women lawyers in the White House. But he comes up and he's just looking for me. And I remember it was Julia Michael. What is his name? It's not Andy. It's, oh my God.
Oh my god.
I forgot his name, but it was all of them, and we were all just standing there. And I remember, you had to shut off your phone. You cannot have phones, nothing in the Pentagon. You have to shut it down, put it in your pocket, you're done. So, I know what he looked like. And finally, he had his phone because he was a high-ranking colonel. So he comes up to me just to sum up, y'all, a high-ranking colonel, worked for the Pentagon. He comes up to me and he's just like, "Are you Destiny Smith?" I'm like, "Yes." And I was just like, "Oh, okay. Am I in trouble?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "I know so and so and so and so." And she wanted us to introduce. She wanted us to be introduced to one another. So it was the coolest moment. Pharaoh was shocked. They were all
Wow.
shocked. He walked up to me and he hugged me and he was just like, "Hey, Destiny." He was like, "You Destiny Smith?" He hugged me. He gave me his number and all of this stuff. He was like, "Look, let's have lunch." And then he was like, "Come over for dinner, lunch, whatever." He was like, "I want to connect with you." But that was one of the coolest moments that I've ever had, aside from meeting you, Ruth. One of the coolest moments I've ever had was to be at the Pentagon and then have that connection that connected me with someone, and then now we have that connection, and to be able to stand there at the Pentagon and take this picture. It was comfortable. I was like, okay, you know,
Yeah, that's
politician,
amazing.
future politician. But that was some stuff that we talked about too, Ruth, when I was there. Possible future in you know, politics or whatever for myself. But I just wanted to share that with you because you missed that opportunity and it was a great opportunity. It really was. It was fun. It was um, but whew, if you had to place your top one of the places that we went to when we were with interning for Aerospace Industries Association, what was your top intern site visit? Like when we did our outings.
Oh, definitely NASA Goddard. That was amazing. I really loved it. Yeah, I've never been there before. And we got to see all the touristy things. We also got to see behind the scenes too, like the actual simulators. We got to meet some of the people, see the people working. I've never seen that before. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, I had took some pictures and they was like, "Yeah, no pictures." I was like, oh, "Okay, I'm sorry." They didn't take my phone, but I was like, "Okay, you know what? I'm sorry." Delete, delete, delete.
Yeah.
But it was interesting seeing all of that we saw. Um, oh my gosh, like I was mind blown because it wasn't my expertise area of what it was that was going on, but I was mind blown being behind seeing the things that were going to just
Right.
change the world in the next couple of years. So
Yeah, it's amazing to see it like in person. Yeah.
my favorite experience when we was there, I just got to shout this out, when we went to Spaceballs.
Oh, that was fun.
Yes, when
That was
we were
very
at
close second.
the stadium. Which stadium was that? Where we were at the whatever baseball team that was, but we were
Yeah, I
mingling
know they had like
amongst
the nationals, I think. Yeah, that was
we were
fun. That
mingling
was fun.
amongst like billionaires and millionaires, and we met the Indian guy. What is his name? Tech
I think
Johnny.
he was on the Space Council, right? Maybe.
He
I think.
was. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember I shake his hand. We met Theodore, the guy that sits on the he's over the aerospace for Boeing. So we got the opportunity to mingle with
Mm.
them and different people that were in the weathering side of aerospace, that those two guys that we were speaking
Oh
with.
yeah, I remember that.
I re- I remember, look, they had left us, Ruth.
I
Why did
remember
our people leave? And we were standing there in the rain. They were like,
it
"Mingle,
was
mingle."
raining.
And they had just left us. And I was just like, "Y'all, we could have left.
Yeah.
We're standing in the rain." And they're like, "Network." And we was like, "Okay, all right." One day we get the opportunity to be the ones to be able to tell our interns, "Hey, y'all, go network." But you know what? It's raining, y'all. Come on, we all leave it. That way we want to be in a position we were in, because we were
Right.
soaked. I remember
It
right
was
after.
really bad.
Yeah, right after, I don't know if that was the same time, we had went and we had went and sit with everybody, and it was uh 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 different opportunities to get to know everyone outside of being in the everyday of
Right, right.
so that was nice to be able to
Yeah.
experience that, because we were in the deeper parts of Virginia, I believe. because I remember I had to ride a train with you because the train was not my friend. I'm sorry. I was not a hop on the L like they say. I didn't, no matter if it was going this way or this way, I still was confused on where we was going.
Yeah, it took me a
But
long time to get it.
yeah, I remember we went together. But man, it's so much to unpack and so much to talk about. But I do want to get into some more of these questions that I do have for you. Um, what message do you hope to share with young people, especially young women who are interested in STEM fields in the space exploration that are in the low income sector?
Wow, that's a big one. That makes me think. Um, I don't know. I think really just to try to stick to what you're passionate about, but stick to what you're passionate about, what you really want to do, what you love, but also remember where you come from. I think that that's a big thing for me is remember where you come from, give back to the people that have supported you and enabled you to be where you are today. So that's kind of what I strive to do is I have these passions and these ambitions, but I always want to give back to my community and remember where I come from. So I guess in the context of space, when people go into space, I would like to send a message of to remember Earth and to remember to give back to those on Earth. Um, and in particular, I'm passionate about like using space research and technology to help advance people and life on Earth. So I think that's a general message for me is just go reach for the stars, reach for your dreams, really be passionate, but also be give back to your community. Remember where you come from. That's something that I am really passionate about.
Beautifully said. I love that. Like we got some I got a question in the comments for you.
Okay.
Also, if you're watching this and you have any questions for Ruth, drop them in the chat because I'm gonna shout you out and I want to get this question answered. Rashana has asked, how does zero gravity feel?
Oh yeah, I was only experienced it for a very short amount of time while I was in this aircraft, but it was amazing. I wish that I could have experienced it longer, but it was also strange not really having full control of like what's up and down, where are my limbs going. So it was kind of discombobulating, but it was also amazing. And I wish, yeah, again, I wish I'd experienced it longer to really like understand what I was experiencing. But it was so strange, but it was so I really enjoyed it. I think it was also somewhat soothing. I just felt like I was just floating in space. I mean, literally, I guess I was, but um, I really enjoyed it. Would recommend.
Awesome, awesome. As we come to a close, I just want to acknowledge like all the amazing things that you have shared and said today. And I do want to, for the people that are watching, please, if you have any questions for Ruth, drop them in the comment section, and I would love to get those answered for you. Even if this is over with and you still have those questions, I will make sure I can get those to Ruth. That way we can get those answered, because we want to make sure that everybody feels that their questions have been answered, but also at the same time, this has been an educational podcast episode as well as a motivational podcast episode because you can do anything you put your mind to. Reaching for the stars, y'all. We don't know. I mean, well, Ruth knows how far a star is. You know, how you can grab it and what it is, but reach for those stars because there's a lot of them. Because how many stars is up there in the galaxy, Ruth?
Man, too many. Lots and lots. We can't count 'em.
Exactly. So that lets y'all know that there's a star for everybody. So don't stop what you're doing, no matter if you're aspiring to be a STEM major, if you're aspiring to be a dance major, a cook, or whatever it may be. There's nothing too small. Nothing small about going into your dreams and being motivated to do that every day because it takes it. Ruth and everything she's saying is beautiful. It is, but it takes courage, it takes grit, it takes faith in if you believe in God, it takes all of that to be able to get up and do what you're doing. So this is just it's inspirational, it really is. And Before we like come to a closing, Ruth, is there anything else you would like to share?
I guess thank you again so much for having me here. This has been such an uplifting, supportive environment, and I think I briefly mentioned the challenges, some of the challenges I've faced, especially being a woman in STEM from a low socioeconomic upbringing in Texas. I haven't felt like I've had many spaces like this, or I haven't. I feel like I've struggled a lot. It took me a long time before I started seeing what I considered to be success or to be happy with where I was. And I felt like people were all constantly like talking down on me, or so this is just such a privilege, and I really appreciate all of you, and this is such a special space, and I hope that's this kind of energy that you are all feeling inspired and feeling motivated, and that you believe in yourselves. And I think I kind of, as I was saying, just work hard and you'll really achieve your dreams. It's really possible, and find people like this to be around you and to support you, and it's all possible for sure.
Because I love you, Ruth. I'm always encouraging you, reaching out to you. I'm just like speaking life. It doesn't matter what it is. Like you're my real true friend. And I know a lot of people, they may not like with this podcast, people are learning so much more about me and so much more about my network. And it's just like I'm just so just overwhelmed with appreciation for you and you taking out this time because you leave for Shanghai in on Wednesday. And you took this time out for me. So that lets me know how much love and care you have for me. And just know that no matter what, I'm still gonna reach out. I'm consistent. I couldn't reach you
Yes,
via
yes, please.
reached out on LinkedIn. I'm checking in. How you doing, Ruth? I'm speaking life into you because that's this. Ever since you met me, I felt maybe I could be wrong. I've always kept the same energy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I've been how we've been. So you've been a blessing to me, and I am so proud of you. And go get it, go get it, go get it. You know what I mean? Go get it and bring it back to that low socioeconomic community, and let them know that you ain't got to stay that level. Keep bringing it back. But I'm gonna have Ruth on whenever she on again, y'all. Whenever she has time. From going to space and being in the simulators or whatever. So y'all, we gonna have her back, when she get that time. But in closing, a huge thank you to Ruth Nichols for sharing her inspiring journey with us today. Her dedication and passion are truly remarkable, and I hope her story encourages you to reach for your own stars, no matter how high they may seem. Remember, the sky's not the limit when there are footprints on the moon. Join us next week on the Prosperity Podcast as we continue to explore stories of resilience, innovation, and pursuit of dreams. Until then, keep striving for your own personal prosperity. Don't forget don't forget to subscribe to Prosperity Podcast. Click that bell so you know when we're actually going live, and hit that like button because it helps me grow, but it also helps with the page itself being able to get to trending on YouTube. So share, like, subscribe, whatever, comment. All right. And thank you, Ruth. And I really hope you have an
You.
amazing night. I'm gonna hit you up after this. But thank you again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mwah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. So I'm gonna hit this outro music. Thank you. Yes. See you later, Ruth. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Healing hearts and mending minds. Together we'll leave the past behind. Welcome to Prosperity Podcast, where hope is found. Voices rising up, breaking new ground. With every story shared, we grow and learn. In this journey
Next
of
week.
healing, it's our turn. Mindful moments equal prosperous life.
Right. I want to say thank you to my listeners, to my viewers, to my subscribers. It can only get better from here. Thank you.
In this space of trust, there's no doubt. We'll explore.